exciting to have Yelena join us today. Yelena, I'm just going to introduce her quickly. She has got an amazing business as an independent online teacher where she teaches adults for the C1 advanced exams, which is a Cambridge English exam. Have I got that right? Yeah.
Cambridge English C1. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm really excited to have Yelena come and share with us, because one of the things that she does, which is different for me, is she uses a totally different funnel to find students. And I think it's really good for us to learn from different independent teachers to find out what they're doing, what's working for them. She also runs a course where it's a 22-week upfront course, which is paid upfront, which I think is also really inspirational because it helps with terms and conditions and getting, steady income and being able to plan that way. So there's a lot of things that I really admire about her business. And also being, an exam prep teacher is something that I'm passionate about too. So I really am excited to have you join us today and share with us. So I know that you've got a presentation to kick us off with. So I'm making you the co-host.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Yelena is only here for 50 minutes today. So I'm going to excuse her at 50 minutes past the hour. But I will stay on for Q&As afterwards as well. So without further ado, we'd love to hear from you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Jess. So that's number one thing I want to say. And welcome everyone. My name is Yelena, and I'm going to share my little presentation. Okay, just a second to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, I hope you can see it. Okay.
Yep, we can see it. Okay, perfect.
Great. Okay, great. So I'm going to talk about Cambridge English C1 Advanced Exam Prep Online Teaching. That's what I do. Now, part of my business is online, not the whole thing, because I run a private English school here in my town. And I also teach children and I teach adults who aren't getting ready for the exam. But online, I'm teaching these higher levels, C1 in particular, and I've been teaching it for a while. I also had another course, which was a conversation course. And but it lasted only 2 months. It was like something I wanted to try, and I'm thinking about like reintroducing it soon, just to add some variety and to widen the funnel. Okay.
Yes.
So yes, but it's going to be aimed at B2 C1 language learners. Okay, so this is this is the little agenda, something about me, why C1 exam prep, the evolution of the course, this course I'm talking about, something about the method, my method, 4 pillars of the course, okay, what's behind the system, and teaching children versus teaching adults. Okay, so my name is Jelena Petkov. I come from Novi Sad, Serbia, a little country in the Balkans, in the south of Europe. And I studied English language and literature. I finished my university studies in 2008, and ever since then, I've been an English language teacher. I had my like ups and downs, not in the sense of teaching, but in the sense of, do I really want to do this? Because after 10 years of teaching, you start like staying in the same position and working. I used to work for private language schools, for one big private language school here in my town, and we had a lot of students, but I just felt like a little clog in the machine, and I was wondering, like, is this what life is about? I'm not sure I want to do this for the rest of my life. But then things changed, and when I switched to online, like, I really realize the potential of teaching and how interesting it can be and how different we can do things. I also finished CELTA in 2014. It was a great experience. it really helped me see that what I'm doing is actually good, and I should keep on doing that. And I really, I'm a nerd, and I love reading about teaching methods and methodology and all sorts of teaching stuff. And I love webinars and conferences. So and I also did CELTA for that reason, for the education. And for the possibilities, for the opportunities. I don't know. I was thinking about maybe moving to another country and teaching there. And the diploma of my country is okay. We are not in the European Union, my country, so it's really hard to get a job. And CELTA widens those opportunities. So yes, I have 16 years of teaching experience, and I never stopped teaching, even though I had my doubts. But yes, I used to work in private language schools. I never worked in the public sector. And in 2021, I started running my own language school and Cambridge English Exam Prep Center. As I said, I teach students of different levels and different ages, but I'm trying to let's say, to somehow turn it into, to like switch it into this direction of Cambridge English Exam Prep. And I'm working on that. Like I would like to be a Cambridge English Exam Prep Center, but I also love working with kids, and I wouldn't like to sacrifice that also. So
I totally get that. Some of our teachers always say it's so difficult picking a niche between kids and adults, and can we do both? And I guess you can do both, but on your Instagram page in particular, you only advertise for one niche.
Yes,
like I haven't
exactly.
seen you on your Instagram page saying that you teach kids, but you can. It's just like you want to advertise yourself on one platform for one particular niche. Otherwise, you don't look like an expert.
Yeah, exactly. So Instagram and this online thing is only for the C1, B2C1 exam preparation. And that's all I talk about there. So why C1 exam prep? I just wanted to tell you something like why this? Why not B1 or starter courses? I started the page because of my students who were getting ready. I had like 2-3 groups of B2C1 students who were getting ready for the exam. I just wanted to push them somehow to work more. They had some problems with, I don't know, writing, vocabulary, grammar, speaking, and I created a page with that in mind, to like post some things. And I told them, okay, now you have to follow me. This is my page. And I started with 15 of my students, and then I was like uploading posts every single day. It was fun for me. It was the time after it was still the time of the COVID, and I had time for those things. And I loved it. I loved the whole thing of preparing those posts, and I don't know, just designing that page. And actually, a few people, okay, like I got to 100 followers. I was like so excited, and then a few people asked me for lessons, and people from, one girl was from Ireland, a Brazilian girl who lived there, who still lives there, and some people from my country. And I was like, okay, this is a good thing to also like find students to advertise my services. Yeah. So, and then I don't know how I came across a page also on Instagram of a woman from Serbia who's a business coach, and she coaches all sorts of service-based businesses, but also teachers of languages. And I started following her work, and then I realized, oh my God, maybe I can do something with this. Maybe I can monetize this page and my work and Instagram and things. And then she was mentioning a newsletter. I had no idea basically what a newsletter was and what I can use it for. But then I said, okay, I'll start a newsletter and upload some, I like type some lessons and fun things for me, or something fun for my students or useful for my students. And I started this newsletter on MailChimp. Then I switched to SendFox. And I used to send a newsletter every single week. And it started like this, like just like that, like no agenda, just for fun. And it turned into something more interesting and some business. So yeah, after I started this page, after that, that same year, actually, the next year, actually, I decided to quit my job and start my own business because I realized I can make a living with this.
Very exciting. It's really cool that you just started and it organically kind of came together.
Yes, it was all organically. It's like I have around 50,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the majority of the people there don't even know who I am. I mean, don't even know what I'm offering, because Instagram is a crazy thing and a lot of people follow a lot of different pages. And I know this because when you look at the statistics and those things, like you can see how many people watched the post, and I realized that not a lot of people see every single post that I create, but all in all, this is a very good marketing strategy. So people actually, yeah, people can see what we are doing, and yes, and get interested in what we're doing.
Yeah.
And
That's great. So one of our students, just to let you know, sorry, I should have said this in the introduction, Goran, who's one of the students on the I Teach course, he has followed you on Instagram and
yes,
he asked me to reach out to you because you are doing business on Instagram and using that as part of your marketing funnel. Because a lot of the students in the course that I'm teaching how to find students on Facebook or how to find students on Chinese social media like WeChat or Xiaohongshu. So Instagram is a really great place to find students if you choose to use it as a funnel, as part of your funnel.
actually it is. Yes, and there are people who have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 thousand followers, and they are actually making a lot of money. So it's not important how many people follow. It's important that the right people follow you, that you talk in your posts and in your copy, that you talk to these people that you want to be interested in your service.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not about like the numbers really. It's about the right people that you want to attract. Okay, so this C1 master course, as I called it, I didn't come up with that course in the beginning. I started with this C1 bootcamp. That's what I called it, and it was just like 2-month exam prep booster course for students who were taking the exam in 2 months, who have already applied for the exam and just needed some boost, like just before the exam to learn some more vocabulary, to polish their grammar and things like that. So yes, it started like that. It was very, very cheap. I think the whole course, the 2-month course, was like the first one was like 60 euros, something like that. And then that one very quickly turned into this C1 online course with a difference, as I called it. And that was a like the comprehensive course, a 9-month course. And in that one, the C1 online course, I used to charge, there were 7 modules, and I used to charge each module as they would come, which was a very bad idea. The dropout rate was big, like people were coming, but also a lot of people were leaving after a module or 2 or 3. And some people stayed, like they started from the beginning and they then finished, they took the exam, everything was great. But a lot of people just wanted to try it out. And it was so frustrating for me because every single month you have to advertise the course again and again and again. And it was so, with those invoices and the payment thing, it was so frustrating and taking a lot of time. So I was thinking like to make it, to change it. for myself, to make it easier for myself. And I wanted to make it shorter because a 9-month course was like a very long course. And I changed it into this C1 master course I'm doing now. It's a 6-month course. It's more intense, but I think it's a better solution. So to do this, to do things fast and efficiently with a lot of focus, but to do it fast. So we are saving a lot of time and energy and effort in the long
And then
run.
you can do 2 enrollments twice a year. So you said
Yes.
you do one around September and then one February, March.
Yeah, so I have one in September, October, and one enrollment in February, March. Okay, so that's the thing. And this one, yes, this one lasts about 22 weeks plus 4 more weeks. So it's something like 5 to 5.5 months. Okay, and the method I used in all these, I am still using, and I used in all these courses is flipped classroom, because at this level we can definitely use this. It's maybe hard to apply this method with the beginners. But with higher levels, we can definitely use this. So this teaching approach, I would like to read this in case you haven't read it before. So the flipped classroom is a teaching approach where traditional learning environments are reversed or flipped. That's why it's called flipped. And in a flipped classroom, students receive self-study material before class. So instead of teaching students during the lesson and making it a sort of a lecture, we are actually sending them material before class. The material can be pre-recorded video lessons, PDFs. I use both. And students then come to class already prepared with knowledge and with questions to ask. And that's the point. So class time is used for deepening the knowledge through discussion, through collaborative learning. So we are flipping it. What we usually do in class, students do for homework, and what they usually do for homework, we do in class. And we both reap benefits of flipped learning. Students gain autonomy, which I think is important. They take more responsibility for their learning. They're not so much dependent on the teacher. And we provide material, but they take more responsibility for their learning, and they get increased interactive time in class. Okay, and we teachers can provide more targeted support and feedback, because we can easily see what they understand, what they know, and what they need more help with.
Yeah.
So
And I did some reading on this because you discussed with me the flipped classroom approach yesterday when we met, and I actually did some reading on it. And there were studies done by Harvard and a few other studies that are saying this is the best way of learning. This is the best way for students to come to class prepared, to hash things out, to almost go higher up on Bloom's taxonomy with the teacher. And then reinforce it afterwards. It's so much better than the traditional learning method. And a lot of teachers are doing this. And when you provide a course with material for students to do before and after your lessons, it's so much easier to be able to do this flipped classroom approach, which is fantastic.
Yes, and once you create the material, you have the material, and you're going to reuse it again and again and again. And okay, yes, I'm changing it all the time. I'm improving it, but the core material is there. And this is so good. There's this passive thing we can just reuse and recycle. So the 4 pillars of this course are these self-study PDFs I create beforehand. I just wanted to say something. Okay, so we are all teachers here, and I think it's important. I haven't created a course and then advertised it and started to sell it. I advertised the course and I didn't have any material ready. So I said, okay, there's going to be this course bootcamp, the first one, and then week by week, as I was supposed to send them, upload these lessons, I was working on them and creating them. So you don't have to have everything ready before you start. And I think it's really important.
And I also think it's good because you get feedback from people as to what they want.
Yes.
So I did this with the 11 plus, and I was doing classical books, and I did that every 5 weeks. I would do a new classical book, and the nice thing was then students could say, "Oh, Jess, I really love Black Beauty. Will you do the next 5 weeks on Black Beauty?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So it's kind of fun when you get that feedback and you can do it, and it's not so overwhelming because it's just, okay, well, I've got to create one lesson this week.
Yes. Yes. Oh, okay. There are also some videos and audio lessons, and I just upload everything on Google Drive. No fancy platforms, nothing. Like, I don't pay for, and I pay for some storage space on Google Drive, but it's like $2 per month, and that's basically all I use. Okay, I use Canva for creating my lessons, my PDFs. I use Canva for everything, for Instagram, and for these PDF lessons. I have Jess, I'm going to send you this lesson after we finish,
Yes.
because I can't find it. I mean, I have downloaded it, but maybe I have accidentally like deleted it from my computer,
You showed
or
it to me yesterday.
yeah, I
I
showed
think
it to you yesterday.
yeah,
I don't know where it is. I
you
think
sent
it
it
was
to
on
me
my
yesterday.
desktop.
I'm trying to remember.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Okay. Well,
I will download it again from
I'm
Canva,
sure you'll
and
find.
I'm going to share one of these PDFs with you. It's not a PDF from my course, but it's a PDF for one of my free lessons. I organized some free lessons last autumn, and it's one of those free lessons that are, it's also an exam prep lesson. But the thing is that you can see, like, it really looks like those lessons in the course.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. The way that she's designed her lesson content looks really professional, really beautiful. Yeah, and if you're using that as a lead, or you're teaching that in your classes as a lead magnet to showcase, what they can expect, it does make you look really good and really professional as a teacher.
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah, we'll get that sent.
Yes. Okay. So this is one of the pillars. Another one is weekly group lessons on Zoom. And so we have weekly group lessons. Okay. And they usually take place at weekends, and usually Saturday, because I send these self-study PDFs and the material on Monday morning, so that the students have the whole week, but not more than that, just like 5 days until Saturday, when we meet together and go through the lesson, do some exercises, talk, practice speaking, work on some things, so that they are supposed to finish all the activities and everything during that week. Okay, and I think it's very good for this accountability and for the focus and discipline also. Then there are also, in my course, there are some bonus conversation classes with teachers who are native speakers. I have found some of these teachers. I was not looking for them, but these are some people that I met on Instagram, and we just clicked, and like, I worked with a woman who lives in Spain, who is from Jamaica, and another woman from who lives in Spain also, but she's from the UK, and I have also a woman who is from the USA, and students love this thing because I'm not a native speaker, and they love talking to native speakers, and I don't know, sharing their experiences and learning some new things. Okay. Then we also have weekly tasks. So in these PDFs, there are these tasks students are supposed to do during the week, like to do a writing task or to send me a voice recording. So the thing is that as we are going through the lessons, they are supposed to use the language immediately. So use the new language, the target language, in writing or in speaking. And when they send me these voice recordings, it is so much easier for me to focus on the inaccuracies and the things that they need to work on more. And then I send them feedback. I either record myself and send it to them, or I type down my feedback. And they really love it. And I think this really helps, this voice recording homework, let's say. And the last thing is the group, the community, the support, the accountability. It's interesting how these little groups of people from all over the world, how tightly they bond. And I met some of my students live, like a girl from Ukraine. She was passing by, and she was on a round trip in Europe, and she came by to say hi, and this is amazing. And another student from the Czech Republic invited me to come to visit her in her hometown.
That's
So
so fun.
it's amazing. Like, yeah, because we as a group, we meet for 6 months every single week, and we get to share personal stories and things. And really, it's so interesting how they support each other.
So nice. I do have a question in the chat. So I've got a question. Did you host a free masterclass before advertising your course? Or did your students already trust you because of your free content, nurturing them through your newsletter, etc.? So I think basically, how do you get your students to sign up for your course?
Yes. Well, what I noticed is that students need to see us and hear us in order to trust us, to give us money, basically, to and their time, and their trust. So it's important to offer something where we can interact with them. So I offered free lessons, free webinars, free since the beginning. Like when I had only 100 people on my newsletter list, I would organize and advertise a webinar, let's say, on how to write an essay for B2, or what they assess in the speaking exam and things like that. And I would like have a limited number of people who could sign up, but it would be like 10 people. And these people actually, some of them became my students later on. So that was, I think that it's a great strategy. So it is important to show up. It is a little bit scary, but in the beginning, but it really is the best thing. So if we just post content and things on Instagram, I think it's not enough. Instagram, if we are on Instagram, it's a very good idea to do those lives where we just show up in front of the camera and talk about things. YouTube is a great way to start. Podcasts too. And those webinars and free lessons where students come and we teach them something and they can ask questions. So in these free lessons, I held in last autumn, from August to October. It was great. Like, okay, sometimes 25 people would come and I would have a lesson with them, and it would be like a lesson on a topic. They would get some pre-lesson material, pre-class material. They would come to class prepared. So it's all based on that flipped learning. And I would put them in Google, in Zoom rooms, breakout rooms. Yes, and it was a lot of fun. And then a lot of people would come again, and they would get to know each other. And it was very interesting. So that builds trust.
Yes. And also, you're doing it for a big group. It's not like you're doing a one-on-one hour of your time for one student for free. You're doing 1 hour of a webinar for 25 people, and you're getting like a lot of reach and trust, which is fabulous. Christine has asked, what nationality are your students?
Okay, so my paying students are from, okay, I have a student from China, but just one. We are having one-on-one lessons. We have been working together for years now. But in this course, my students, okay, they were from Ukraine, Russia, Serbia, then just a second, Spain, Italy, Spain, Italy. I had a student from Germany, the Czech Republic, Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, Portugal. So this girl from Ireland that I mentioned, and I have
You
students
said South America as
South
well.
America, yes.
South
So
America.
South America, Ecuador. I had two students from Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, and I think that's it. I think
It's amazing how you've got so
Slovakia,
many people
yes.
from so many different countries
Mhm.
coming together to learn English. And the nice thing is when you focus on an exam, like the C1 advanced exam, like that is an exam that globally people are taking. So it's quite exciting in your classes, I'm sure, to have people from different places all over the world connecting together.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. And the interesting thing is that all these people, up to now, all of them were people who were highly educated and who wanted to do either a master's degree or a PhD in another country, or they wanted to move abroad, or to move to emigrate, or they needed English for work. So it's like, or I had some teachers also who wanted to take the course and to improve and maybe teach for Cambridge English exams in the future.
I
So
wanted to ask
I
about the
wanted to say
C1.
that these people are all really like determined and ambitious and hardworking people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And that's something I wanted to pick up on. I know one of the other trainers that we've had on the course, I know you're not familiar with him, is James Liu. He said C1 professionals are really a great niche because they've got money, because they're usually high up on, you know, whatever they're doing, like work or business or international stuff. You know, they're adults and they're highly driven. Like to get to a really high professional place in your English and have a good reason to take the C1 exam, it's usually people who've got money too. Do you find that it's a problem you're pricing, or would you say, like, I don't know if you're happy to share how much your course is with the students here, but do you find that because they're high up in professionals, they've got the ability to pay for your prices?
Yes, well, some of them, you're right. Okay, some of them are already working and they have their own income, but some of these people are students and their parents are paying for the lessons for the course. And so yeah, the price is 1,220 euros for the whole course. And it didn't used to cost that amount in the past. So the C1 master course costs that much, but the previous one was much cheaper, half the price. So
I'm just working it out. So if it's 1,220 euros divided by, say, 22 weeks, though you said 20, you
26,
added an extra
yes.
3. Let's do it divided by 26. It's
Mm.
about divided by 26 weeks. So that's 46 euros a week
A week.
for the one live lesson.
Yes.
And they consume the course in their own time. It's not time that you're using. You do give feedback with voice messages. And
Yes.
you're saying in your courses you have between 4 and 6, up to 6 in a class, sometimes 2. But if
Sometimes
we
even
had to
2.
say your average was 4, I'm going to times this by 4. That's 187 euros you're getting for one live class a week, and the rest of it is quite a lot of self-paced learning, okay, other than a voice note feedback here and there. So would you say, like, I mean, this is obviously really good money and a really good structure to be able to teach group classes with, have terms and conditions in place so that you're not getting like cancellations and
Yes,
refunds
exactly. That's
being
very important.
refunded. Yeah.
And once
It's
students pay upfront, it's interesting how much more dedicated they are and how much more
yes.
they try. And it has to, I realized it has to hurt a little bit. I know this from my own experience. It has to hurt a little bit, when you give that amount of money, so that you really try hard. And if the lessons are cheap, they actually, I mean, if the lessons are cheap, then I also have that experience, then students are not trying enough.
Yeah.
And it turns out also somehow that maybe they don't learn, and that maybe your course wasn't good enough. Like it doesn't mean that, but it turns like that. Yeah.
This is really interesting. Fantastic. Okay, let's keep going. It is 37 minutes past, so you've only got 13 minutes left, and then we can have Q&A at the end if we've got time.
So this course is both asynchronous and synchronous. Asynchronous because students get their self-study material, and then they can study in their own time during that week. But it's also synchronous because we do have live lessons every week. I wrote immersive learning because I want to. These people who I teach are usually they live in a country which is not an English-speaking country, and it's really hard to use the language a lot. So I'm trying in this course to replicate this immersive learning, to I try to artificially surround them by a lot of language and a lot of culture, so that the goal is to force them to use the language every single day, at least. Okay, not every single, but I don't know. I would love them to use it every single day, but I'm not sure if they really do it like that. But that can really accelerate language acquisition. So that's why they have these optional. I give them a lot of optional activities. Some of them are like obligatory, you have to do this, but there are a lot of these optional. Oh my God, optional activities, yes, where they're supposed to listen to a podcast and answer some questions and read an article, and again find some, I don't know, grammar points in the article. Some of them, yes, are obligatory, but some are optional, and if they have time for that. Some of these people work, they have like 9-to-5 jobs, and they can't do all this, but students can. I mean, high school or university students can. I think they have time to do that. The course helps them build discipline, because yes, there is this accountability. You need to finish everything by the weekend, and there has to be a lot of focus when they are studying, because without focus, it can be impossible to do all this in 6 months' time. It usually takes a year and a half in these traditional courses, in exam prep courses, to learn all the material and to take the exam. So I'm like, with this course, I'm trying to help people do this fast and efficiently, and not to, let's say, waste time. If they don't have time to waste. Yes, balance is the key. So we are working on all 4 skills. We have to, because the exam focuses on all 4 skills. And in my materials, I try to use as much as authentic material. So a lot of authentic texts, podcasts, YouTube videos, radio interviews, that I can find something interesting, BBC Radio, for example, reviews, articles, things like that. And yes, of course, I need to use official Cambridge English exam prep material that you can find on the Cambridge English website. Okay.
I do have a quick question. I know this is your last slide. So the quick question in here is Christine is saying, is Instagram a good platform to find students in your experience?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely it
absolutely.
is. Mhm.
Yeah,
It can
yeah,
be. It depends on what we do there and how we approach it and what we want to achieve. So I mean, as I said, it's not about the number of followers, it's about finding the right people, and we can find them. The essential thing is consistency on Instagram. It's consistency. Um, so if you're starting now, if you're just starting out, I suggest posting every single day for 100 days, because that's the only way that your reach is going to
yeah.
grow.
Do you do this in Canva? Like, do you have a posting schedule where you pre-schedule things, or do you post organically yourself every day?
I don't post every day now. I should, but I'm not doing it at the moment. But I used to post every single day, and I used Canva, and most of the things weren't scheduled, which is not a good thing. The best thing would be to set aside a day, let's say, or not a day, but like a few hours, and to create some posts, some, I don't know, something you would like to share with the followers, with the people, and then to schedule one per day. But sometimes it's hard with all the work and obligations in
I
life.
know, I
That
know. Being consistent is difficult. Okay, let's finish up on the last slide, and then we've got a few minutes for questions.
Okay, so the two of us talked about teaching children and teaching adults and how different it can be. And my own experience is that both children and adults, they love fun and games. And all of them love engaging activities and materials, and they love the meaningful role plays and interactions and creating presentations. So it's really, you can do whatever you do with children, you can do with adults. Okay, not in the exact same way, but you can play games with adults. They love those things. Um, you can even get them to stand up and do something, and it's all interesting to them, just like it is interesting for children. Adults, of course, they're more goal oriented. They are usually more serious in their studying. They have longer attention spans, so our lessons can be longer. But they are also, just like teenagers, they are self-conscious and afraid to make mistakes. And a lot of at least my students are perfectionists, which can be a really big problem when teaching them, and when they need to write something, they're like, they don't even want to share their texts with me, because some of them, not all of them, but some of them are so afraid of mistakes. And
Oh,
that is something a language coach should that's where a language coach should like step up. Because okay, I'm a teacher, but I sometimes don't know exactly how to deal with that perfectionism and those things that they have problems with. Okay, so uh, I I love this book. It's called 100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozy. Jess, you told me that you
yeah,
know who Alex
big
is.
fan of Alex. Yeah.
Yes, me too. Um, and I love this sentence from that book. It says that make your offer so good, people feel stupid saying no. So we should try to make our course or our lessons so good that people feel stupid saying no. Um, it's not, we can have the best course in the world, but if we don't know how to market it, how to advertise it, like the course and all the effort and everything is in vain. But we also, if we have a very if your course is not very good quality, if you just did it fast without much care, then your marketing can be perfect, but you are not going to have repeated sales and customers who are going to I mean students who are going to come back. So I think that the key thing is to make our lessons and classes amazing. Try to do, I mean, as we teach, we are getting better and better. So these lessons are going to be better and better with experience. But I think that's the key. It's not about marketing and advertising and, I don't know, selling. Of course, it is important, but the first thing is to have a really good product.
Yeah.
Service. Okay. And yes, and that's it. You can find me here, email, Instagram, LinkedIn, and I started a podcast on Spotify. I have only 4 or 5 little episodes, but I'm like promising myself every single day that I'm going to record something. I just this period of life at the moment is a kind of hectic. I need to organize myself a little bit better, but yes, you can find me here. And I have also copied this thing into that free lesson I'm going to send Jess, so that Jess can send you, so that you can find me if you need something. If you have any students who want to take the C1 exam, and if you are not doing that, feel free to pass this information on to them. So
yes, recommend your services.
what I
Absolutely.
do. Yeah, and maybe they will click with me and my approach, and maybe we can work together.
Amazing. Thank you so much. You have been amazing. I'm so excited to have heard kind of how you have set up your business and how you are finding students primarily through Instagram and now your email service with newsletters. That's an approach that some of us are looking into starting or have started. It's really amazing to hear how your marketing started just organically and now it's kind of merged into something bigger. Hearing about your incredible offer, which is what I mean with Alex Hormozi, and creating something that is so good that people are not going to say no to it. It's so important to be able to create a product like that, because then you're going to get referrals. People are going to recommend you. It's really exciting what you're doing. So listen, it is 49 minutes past the hour. If anyone has got a question, let's just maybe ask one and then we're going to let her go. So, all right. Alison is saying this has been fantastic. Thank you. Christine's also saying thank you. And also to Goran for suggesting Yelena today. Okay, we have got a question quickly. What games do you suggest playing with adults? I've never played games with my adult students before. So that's a really great question to end with.
Okay, you can play bingo, for example, like that's the first game that comes to mind. So I play bingo with kids, but you can also adapt it and play bingo or tic-tac-toe with adults for vocabulary or grammar. There are these online games that you can play. Like I like Bamboozle.
Yeah.
I don't know if you used it. Yes, Bamboozle.
I always recommend Bamboozle.
I love it. Yes, there is
Yeah.
Word Wall. Word Wall is
Word
also,
Wall. Goran's a fan of
there
that.
are different types of games there. What else is there? They also love like that game True or False, like it's a betting game. So there's this book. I don't know the exact title, but it's something like games for ESL learners. And there are like tons of games. And these books that I have are like really old school books that are the games there are created for classroom environment, like traditional classroom environment, but we can adapt them. We can definitely adapt most of those games to online lessons.
Yeah.
So you can just play with it and try things out and see what works with students. And sometimes I create an amazing game in my head. It's like incredible, but then it falls flat. They don't like it. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Fantastic. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time today. I can see in the chat lots of people saying thank you so much. So I will be recording this. I'll be uploading it into the course. I'll send it to you later, Yelena. And maybe you can use the audio and add it to your podcast.
That would be amazing. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you, everyone.
Wonderful. Okay, have a great day. Cheers,
Bye.
Thank you very much.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.